for a lot of Laker fans that are on this channel, there's a lot of dialogue of everyone's excited to see Luka. Everyone hears, hey, top 3 player in the league. Everyone sees the, kind of the dagger shots that he's had in the playoffs. But a lot of us also have not watched Luka 82 games a year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you as best describe what exactly are the Lakers getting from a 25-year-old Luka Doncic, and also kind of keeping in mind how the Mavs traded him and his feeling towards that organization and maybe feeling slighted and everything else? What do you think the Lakers are getting based on what you've seen in the past? And what do you think the Lakers are getting based on the circumstances of what's happened?
Well, the phrase that was coined early in Luka's career here, starting 7 years ago, it was Luka magic. And we in Dallas, and certainly I think most NBA fans have seen highlights, but here in Dallas, we obviously have seen him on a regular basis. It's just the seemingly improbable magic that he creates during games and at the end of games. And it's really kind of hard to summarize other than say it has been magical. He does have this ability to rise to the moment. And it's pretty amazing to be, it's surreal, frankly, to be sitting here, 4 years into the Jason Kidd, Nico Harrison tenure. Mavericks had a trip to the NBA finals and a trip to the conference finals, and Luka was a huge part of that. So it really is hard to summarize. I mean, last year I was in Atlanta for a 73-point game. I was in the bubble when he hit the big shot against the Clippers. That was surreal because there was nobody in that smaller arena.
Sure.
Other than, the Clippers players just reacting like, are you kidding me? And a Clippers employee slamming a water bottle down and the Mavericks bench erupting. And you can only imagine how that would have been in a real playoff. It was a real
packed arena.
In a packed arena. And so that just showed that he had the ability to deliver regardless of circumstance. And so and in the city of Dallas, there's just been a lot of pride that the Mavericks had Dirk Nowitzki for 21 years.
Sure.
Dirk's last season, they bring in Luka, and it was just it was a seamless handoff. And I think Mavericks fans, I don't think anybody would expect that he would be here 21 years, but we kind of saw him as Dirk 2.0 to carry that on and someone to build the franchise around, going forward. And so that's the shocking element of this. If you're going to quibble with a guy who has the third best average in scoring average in NBA history, you'd say he does not play great defense. You'd say that, well, could he have been in better condition? Is he maybe more susceptible to the soft tissue injuries because he's not in optimal condition? But, frankly, those are just quibbles in my mind. I mean, the guy still produced. He played a heavy minutes load. I think he wore down when he got to the NBA Finals last year. But just from a sheer productivity standpoint, and frankly, he was putting forth more effort on defense last year. Maybe there was a backslide in that from that standpoint this year, but I don't really know that we can say that for sure because he'd only played in 22 of 49 possible games.
Can I tell you something funny? Every time I hear this stuff about defense, like I love how they're making it sound like Nikola Jokic is the defensive player of the year, right, and that Steve Nash was known for his defensive prowess, and right, that Magic Johnson was a combination of Gary Payton and named the best big out there that can play D.
Well, I think certainly Dirk was not known for his defense.
I think it's so funny that and maybe this is just an angle that you're looking for, right, but isn't that part of the league? The league are you're going to have certain players that have certain strengths and you play to those strengths. Okay, maybe Luka wasn't what was it? Your guy who I saw right before Lakers and the Clippers game. I saw Dorian Finney-Smith coming out of his way to give you some love. I'm sure you got, a great relationship with him over the years. But he was saying yesterday, he's like, if he's dropping numbers like that, maybe I should weigh 270 pounds.
Right.
But I just think it's so funny. Like all of a sudden the league just became something where you could be somebody that's averaging a triple double. And if you're not a lockdown defender, then maybe you're just not worth it. Like it's just, it's comical to me. But Brad, I want to ask you this because I think, Luka's personality probably better than most outsiders just because you're around him, the team, the game, and everything else.
Mhm.
How personal do you think he's taken this, and how can that be a benefit to his career personally? What I mean by that is maybe he's looking at life so much different than he was before Saturday night because
Mhm.
he's saying, I thought I was God. I thought I was, I'm untouchable. This, and I'm not even saying it from an ego perspective. I'm just saying, look what he's accomplished by the time of 25.
Mhm.
How personal do you think he takes this, and how can that be beneficial to Luka's career, you think, moving forward, the near future and future down the road?
Oh, there's no question in my mind he's taking this in a deeply personal way. What struck me the other day in that 27-minute news conference was how rarely he smiled. And the Luka that I saw was still shell-shocked from the trade. The Luka I saw showed, kind of glimpses. His answers were measured, but there was definitely anger behind those. It was implied anger. Luka, just for Lakers fans, Luka post-game interviews has never been like the life of the party. He's never been maybe particularly comfortable in front of a camera. But that Luka that I saw the other day was not anywhere close to the Luka that we've seen for nearly 7 years. I've never seen him that solemn other than, after a big loss. And so the way I read this, I think there's probably been two times in his 25-year life where he's been like knocked across the head, where like he's gotten like a wake-up call. I think the first happened in the NBA Finals last year. He, led. There's no reason to believe the Mavericks should have been in the NBA Finals, but he and Kyrie Irving led them there. And he gets to the finals and he made the, he fouled out of the game 3 here in Dallas that, Dallas probably should have won. It was an ill-advised foul, obviously, in those circumstances, might have cost him the game. And he got really severely criticized on a national level for that. I think that was kind of the first time that he'd been like whacked in the knee, and this trade is that. That's this, except 5 times worse, maybe 10 times worse. Whether it was deserved or not, this is going to be a huge wake-up call for him. He has made a career of taking minor slights and finding seemingly minor ways to get himself ramped up, on a game-by-game basis. But this will be a collective. This, no doubt in my mind, will be something that lights a huge fire underneath him, especially when the Lakers play the Mavs.
Well, and doesn't it seem like the greats always find extra motivation, and they will try to find angles? He doesn't have to look too hard as far as what that, extra motivation is. Okay, let's, it's interesting because I can look at this from multiple perspectives. And, I've been covering the Lakers for a while, grew up a Laker fan. So seeing it from a Laker perspective, it's pretty easy of, wow, they just got this gift that fell right on their, on their doorstep, and they got potentially, and I'm sure there's a lot of NBA fans that are like, Lakers again, how did they do this? And this time around, I'm like, don't look at the Lakers at this one. The Mavs initiated all of this. But can you kind of as we sit here and we've got almost 5 days into the trade, it was kind of one of the most shocking things in the history of sports. Everyone was trying to kind of put the pieces together. Is it as simple to say that front office and that ownership for Dallas, do you think they really genuinely understood the repercussions of what they were doing? Like, as they sit here today,
Mm-hmm.
are there a group of people saying, what the F did we just do? Or do you think they knew that the reaction was going to be the reaction that it was?
Well, there's no question that they knew that there would be backlash. My colleague, Mike Curtis, and I talked to Nico Harrison shortly after midnight, the night of the trade. And that's not something that Nico normally does. And so, especially since the trade, the condition of, talking to us and giving us the reasons behind the trade. And it was supposed to remain on background until the trade call was actually going to be going through. So he didn't want any comments until like the trade was official, but they understood they needed to explain this. Having said all, and he explained it, I thought reasonably thoroughly, if you're going to give a rationale behind all this. But I don't think they expected this level of backlash. I don't. Now, I mean, it looks like there's going to be a protest outside the game, outside American Airlines Center on Saturday. There's already fans have been calling in. I don't know. I'm not sure how many. The Mavericks have kind of downplayed this, but some fans have canceled their season tickets, and the Mavs have, offered refunds to those. Now, I don't know. I was told it hasn't been many fans, but if any fans are doing that, then that's a problem for the organization. Sure. They're talking about a 20-year run here where they've had sellouts for every home game other than during the pandemic. So this could very well hit the Mavericks pretty hard in the pocketbook. I don't think anybody could be quite ready for the backlash that's occurred and maybe is just now starting. Now, will some of that go away when Anthony Davis, on the same day that Luka will debut, he'll make his home debut for the Mavs? Anthony Davis goes for 30 points and 15 rebounds. Is that going to soften some of this stuff?
Which is probably going to happen. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Will some of this soften over time if the Mavericks end up being better than the Lakers? Yeah, possibly. But I think it's always going to come back to Luka is 25. We will never know how the next 10 years would have unfolded here in Dallas. And it's the Luka magic aspect that we talked about earlier, that the fact that his mere presence gave you kind of an excitement level that anything was possible. And so now, Luka magic has been lost, and we'll never know what Luka magic in Dallas would have been over the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years.
All right. Thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.